Hi, it's Nicola here from A Handcrafted Business, and today I'm joined by Laura Robinson of Worditude. Now, Laura is fantastic with words, and she really, truly believes and is passionate about the fact that she believes anybody can write for their audience, even though she knows that lots of people get really scared and go, oh, I can't do that. So she's on a mission to share and teach and show everybody exactly how they can actually sit down and write words that are going to work on their website and their descriptions and whatever it is that you need, wherever it is that you need it. I'm going to stop waffling now because I've realised that I'm just kind of going off. I'm going to hand over to Laura. So, Laura, how did you learn? Sorry, I should just let you say hello, shouldn't I? I'm gone. I'm just so used to doing videos on my own. I just talk, so you have to forgive me. How did you get into writing? Where did this start for you? How did you get so good at finding the right words?
I think that the reason that I enjoyed writing so much is I have a bit of a hang up about my accent. So I'm from Essex, but my family are from East London. So I always say my accent sounds like Call the Midwife had a crash with The Only Way is Essex, and then that's how I sound. And I went to a girls' grammar school, and most of the kids I went to school with, or the girls I went to school with, they didn't sound like me. They sounded a lot posher. So I was really aware that when I opened my mouth, I didn't sound very intelligent. So I tend to keep my mouth closed and learn how to write really great answers for essays and for exams. So I always did okay with exams because it was all about being able to express yourself in writing. Same like university, lots of writing there, and that bit was like the fun bit for me. And then I joined a graduate management program for a financial services company, and just really positioned myself to be in like marketing, communications type roles all the time. So I spent all the time, even in my corporate career, was helping people to communicate in writing. So often that was like a senior management team. They have their own way of speaking that the rest of the world doesn't understand, and so then I would help them draft communications that
everybody else could understand
what they're trying to tell them. So I feel like I've always been in some kind of writing or communications type role, and then when I had my children, I left my job, as lots of people do, and set up on my own and trained to be a copywriter. So I've been doing this, I've been out about 10 years since I left my job. So yeah, I've been doing this for a while now.
Do you enjoy it?
I absolutely love it. Yeah, I really love helping people to connect with their online audience, because I feel like that is one of the most fun things that you can do as a business owner, is to interact with your audience. Yeah. And if you feel like you can't do that in writing, that's a big thing that you're missing out on. It's a big chunk of communication that you don't have access to. So anytime that I help people communicate in writing with their online audience, that's the fun bit for me.
Oh, so do you know what? I'm about to start to launch into a conversation and just asking you questions. And actually, I did ask you to prepare some top tips. So I think I should, or some quick wins or something that you could share to get people started. So you launch into those, because I'm sure that what I was about to ask you, you probably cover anyway.
So quick wins are just how to feel more comfortable when you're writing. Yeah. Anything, regardless of what you're writing. The first thing I want to say is this is not whether you are good at writing or not. This is not a fixed thing. Like some days I'm great at it, some days I'm not really feeling it, and it's much harder to find the words. So my first tip is actually to get your preparation right. So how you'll know what's your best conditions that you work under. Do you need it to be quiet, or do you prefer to have some kind of background music? Where do you feel most inspired? Do you like being slumped on the sofa with your laptop, or do you need to be sat up at a desk really focusing on what you're doing?
Yeah.
And just having that awareness of, this is when I most easily get into flow, this is when it's most easy for me to write. That is like your first step towards being able to be a much better writer. Because what tends to happen is our writing tasks, especially if we don't enjoy them, they get written on our to-do list, and they get further and further down the to-do list. Everything else gets done, and by the time we've cleaned the kitchen cupboards and we've done the vacuuming and we've archived all of our emails and then it still says I need to write a blog post, and we finally do it, we're tired and we don't really feel like it, and so we're not really bringing our best selves to that task. And I think another thing that can happen is that we think of writing as like you write on your computer, you write on your phone, it's all the same thing. but it's not. You can't get away with just bashing something out on your phone and thinking like, yeah, I've written my Facebook update for the week, or that was my blog post, or that was my marketing email, because that's just like a sloppy job. You're not really focusing on it. You're not giving it the attention it deserves. So that was a really long-winded way of saying number one top tip is preparation. Just, bring your best self to it. Prepare yourself in the best way that you can.
It sounds so simple, but actually you're right. The amount of times that it's on your to-do list and it just slips down and you kind of, oh, I've got half an hour, that'll do.
I'll just do it.
And actually you're not giving it enough effort. You're not giving it enough worth, because it's a really valuable thing, isn't it? To whether it's a social media post, whether it's a product description, whether it's a blog, whatever it is that you're putting out there, it's really quite important, because you want your audience to read and connect with that. And if you're just bashing it out or even not doing it, it's missed opportunities.
And if you think about the amount of preparation people put into before they record a video, or before they record, do a Facebook Live, writing needs to be with the same level of commitment and preparation. Even though the person's not reading it as you write it, they're not right there, but they will pick up on that energy of whether this is something where you brought your best self, or you just like sloppily did it in the last 30 minutes of the day. My second tip is that begin every time you need to write something. This is for everything. It doesn't matter, even if it's just an email to one individual rather than to a big list. Sit down and list what you want that reader to know, feel, and do by the time they've finished reading what you're writing.
Ooh, I like that.
Because if you don't start with those goals in mind, there's no point writing it. These are the ways in which they're going to be changed by the time they've read the thing that you're writing.
I really like that. So you do that for everything that you write and everything you put out.
And it becomes automatic.
Yeah.
Do it so quickly when you get used to it that it's like the question, you just sit down and think, why am I writing this?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? What do I want them to know, feel, and do by the end of this? And you might not always have something for each one of those three, but you do tend to, even if the feeling is, I just want them to feel so excited and engaged that they take this action straight away. They do the thing that I've asked them to do.
I suppose it impacts the adjectives you use and all that type of stuff, doesn't it? Knowing if you want someone to feel, it's just like excited, or if you, from my point of view, I want them to feel supported, or I've never thought of it like that before. I really like it. It's such a simple little thing, but actually my brain is firing away right now. Oh dear. Okay.
I feel like I'm going to deal the knockout blow with just the third and like the final tip to be getting on with for now. So my third and final tip is you just write it and don't self-censor. So I think this probably comes from hang-ups from when we were at school. If you were the generation like me where everything was handwritten in an exercise book and you wanted it to look neat and beautiful, and if you made a mistake, you'd have to cross it out and it looked terrible and you dreaded
Start
it
again.
Yeah, start again.
I would have an A4 pad. I can remember it clearly because I remember one of my teachers saying Nicola Smith had dreadful handwriting. It was awful. And the amount of times I would write the first few lines, cross it, and I would start again, and it would take me forever just to write that first. Not because necessarily what was the words, but because it had to look.
It needs to look lovely. So because that's how we learnt to write. That's our first stories of writing, our first experiences of writing. It's like as soon as we begin to write, we are hardwired to go back to that place of it's got to be perfect. I need to get it right first time. It needs to look pretty. This can't be a mess. But it can be a hideous mess because nobody can see it. And if you're writing it in a notebook and you're going to scribble all over it, that's fine. If you're writing it on a Word document or a Google document, you can just delete it, reformat it. You can do whatever you want with it. And so we need to get out of this idea that everything we put down needs to be right. You don't even need to write it in the correct order.
True.
When I write things, I often go straight for the middle because that's the value I want to deliver. This is the message I want to get across. And then I go back and do the introduction later and then top it off with the conclusion and then write the title or the attention-getting headline as the very last thing. So we have to, often it works just to acknowledge that that's where that kind of tightness comes from. Think, why do I feel so anxious about writing? Why do I find this a struggle? And as soon as we kind of tap into this idea that it doesn't need to be perfect, there was a time when what I wrote needed to be perfect and it was judged and someone was watching me as I was writing it and I was comparing myself to other people.
Yeah. That
time is gone now. Just get it as it comes out of your head, get it on the page and edit it later. And that's what people say to me, like, oh, you're really good. How do you be a good writer? You're a good writer. But I'm not. I'm a really good editor. So I
I like
write.
that as
If you
well.
can see the rubbish that comes out of my head sometimes, like it just goes on a page, and then I know what to take out. I know what to leave in. I know what to tighten up. I know how I can make a dull sentence be more interesting. But I don't write. When you read something that I've written, even if it's just a Facebook post, I might have edited that 4 or 5 times until I get it to the point where I'm happy for it to go out. I didn't write it like that. It didn't come out of my head like that.
I think though we have this habit, don't we? And we do it with everything. I think that we look at what other people are doing and we assume that that's how they've done it the first time, and that why can't we do that? And actually then we put the pressure on ourselves to do the same thing. But yeah, so just knowing that, yes, I love I'm a good editor rather than I'm a good writer. I love that. Ooh,
Nobody needs to be a good writer. It doesn't matter. Just get it out. Get some words out on the page and you can play with them later. But just
I love that. It's just a simple reframing, isn't it? It makes the world of difference. Wow. Oh, brilliant. Right, do you know what? I'm feeling fired up already.
So you're going to go off and write a book now?
Not quite. Maybe. Yeah, I have got a book hidden in here somewhere. I think everybody does, don't they? I think everybody
everyone has like this weird story in their head that they would like to put into a book at some point. Yeah. I don't help people with books, but I know a woman who does. So when you're ready for it, I'll point her in your direction.
Thank you. So yeah, I suppose otherwise I'm going to go back to something that I always say, that the other thing is you have to know who you're writing for, isn't it? And you mentioned the fact that it's the know, feel, do. That combined with knowing who you're writing for, I think that's the bit, isn't it?
Understanding who you're writing for, but I think there's 2 other aspects to that. Where that person who you're writing for, when they're reading what you've written, where are they? Like, how does that? So there's a big difference between, it's called the Metro, isn't it? The free newspaper that goes out on the tube.
Yeah.
And that's written. They know they've got a few seconds between tube stops. That's when that's getting written. Yeah. If you're writing a Facebook post, you're competing against a very noisy platform where there's lots of stuff going on. So you need to be really to the point and really jump out with an attention-getting headline from the beginning. Yeah. If you're writing your about page, for example, someone who's taken the trouble to click all the way through to your website and then load up your about page and then load up that page, they're already that much more committed and engaged. So you can go deeper with them. You can share more. You don't have to be so front loaded with your attention getting and giving away your information and value at the top. It's more of a story and they're going to read it to the bottom. So besides knowing who that person is, you kind of need to think about, where are they? Are they really paying attention right now? Is my content the type of stuff where you sit down and you read it like a magazine, or is it something quick that they're just scrolling through on Facebook? And the other thing to bear in mind is, more so when you're selling stuff, is whereabouts are they? How well informed are they? Because it's not just who they are, but it's like you'll have buyers who are at different stages of research.
Yeah, whether they're just starting to look at something, or whether they've actually done all that research and
exactly. So how well informed are they when they finally get to you? Who are the ones that you really want to speak to? Do you want to get in at the beginning and kind of nurture from the beginning and train them up and you be their source of knowledge, which is a longer route to the sale, but you're much more likely to make the sale because you've got that long-standing relationship.
Yeah, the trust comes into play then, isn't it? Exactly. That's that process.
Or are you way more interested in converting those people that have already done all the research they need to do, and you just sweep in at the last minute, scoop them up and go, this is the thing you want to buy?
Yeah. Oh, I did that with selling a house once, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, wow.
People were going to do a second viewing of 2 other houses, and we just got on the market that day, and they said to me, your house will be better for them. And they came in and they put all the offer in and bought our house the next day. I'm quite sorry for the ones who had had the second view. Well, no, I didn't really.
No, don't feel this. All's fair in love, war and house sales.
So swooping in at the last minute can work. Oh, look, definitely. I'm just so looking forward to our class.
I haven't even got started yet.
No. Are we going to be able to keep this? I'm all caught up. I'm trying to check the date. When is it we're talking? I'm all over the place. I should have been organised with this and knowing what the date is. We are having our class on the 10th of July. Yeah.
Oh, it's not long. Couple of weeks then.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I can't wait. Do you think we're going to be able to fit everything into an hour?
You can always bring me back, but I would like to try, because the thing is, if you have too much, you know, and that's I get carried away, and I want to encourage people to really get stuck in there. But the worst thing you can do is like give too many instructions. So we can definitely cover it in an hour, and it won't be overwhelming. And it's about real actionable steps that you can take that will make a difference. By the end of that hour, you can go off and go and get that work done.
Brilliant. And we're going to focus on product descriptions, aren't we, rather than everything and anything. The tips you've given today apply to all writing, which is absolutely brilliant. But the class, I think we've given it the title of How to Write Descriptions That Do Your Products Justice. Whether you've got products or services, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely perfect. I can't wait. I really, really can't wait. Thank you so much, Laura. It's an absolute pleasure. And even that second tip, no feel do. I love them all. All of them make complete sense, but that's the one that's kind of got my little brain.
Brilliant. And it kind of flips it around from being the thing that you're trying to write is just an item on your to-do list to get it done. You want to get it out of the way, like the washing up, but it's not. Like, you need to think it's way more important than that. And if you reframe it into, why am I actually doing this? What's this end goal? Then you've just got so much more energy and enthusiasm to bring to the task.
Love it. Brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to the 10th of July. If you're a Creative Business Club member, you get this class. It's part of your club membership, so you can just log in and come and join us. And if you're not in the Creative Business Club yet, what are you waiting for? We've got fantastic classes like this happening all the while, and this one's going to be really, really good. I'm just really excited for it. Can you imagine having product descriptions that your audience really connect with and just inspire them to go on and buy? Because that's the point of this, isn't it, ultimately? Okay, so thank you so much, Laura. It's been an absolute pleasure.
You're very welcome. I'm looking forward to the 10th of July.
Yes, me too. Okay, I shall see you soon. Bye.